But here's the thing. How many times in your life have you had the experience where you start out and you know something's going to be under control? You know where you stand. You know there's no way you're going to move off that rock-solid ground. And then all of a sudden, you step onto that slippery slope, and before you know it, you are in the place that you never expected to be. Happens all the time, doesn't it? Dear friends, you cannot serve God and money. Or we can boil it down to a very simple equation. We can serve money and use God. You know what I mean by that, right? Instead of worshiping God, instead of making Him the center of our lives, instead of focusing our lives in the direction that He intends, we make God into the genie in a bottle. And so we're going through our lives and we're serving money. Money is our God, so we're following all of the rules that money gives us about how to achieve the things that we want in this life. And we're following our God until we run into a crisis. And then when we run into that crisis that money can't solve, that fame can't solve, that success in whatever way, shape, or form can't solve, we rush back to the shelf, we grab the genie in the bottle, and we fold our hands and rub it until we get what we want. We serve money and we use God. That's all wrong. As Christian people, we are called to serve God and use the money that He provides as a tool and a resource to honor Him and to bless people and to invest in things of eternal value. You know, people hear that and they say to themselves, you know, what a taker God that is. You know, He wants us to devote our lives to Him, wants us to serve Him, wants us to use our money and our success and our resources to honor Him, to serve Him, to serve other people. What kind of a God is that? Well, let me tell you what kind of a God that is. That's the kind of God who is asking you to do a shadow of what He has already done for you. The kind of God that is the God who held nothing back. The God who so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son, that whoever believes in Him, whoever trusts His death where He stretched out His arms, poured out His blood, was beaten to a pulp, and then died. Whoever trusts in that one and only Son will not perish, but have eternal life. That's the kind of God that calls us to serve Him. A God who has already given everything for us. And it's that God who says, when you get your heart, when you get your life, when you get focused on anything else, when anything else becomes your God, anything else becomes your priority, life will not work. He's not saying it because He wants to take something away from us. He's saying it because He wants to continue to pour into our lives blessings that overflow and are shaken down and continue to flow over into our lives. When we realize that, then we have to say, well, what do we do? How do we get this back on course? How do we get our lives pointed in the right direction? And that brings us to our memory verse for today. Will you stand as we read it? It's from Matthew chapter 6. Jesus says, "Store up for yourselves treasures in heaven." Isn't that the truth? Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. Where your treasure is, that's where your faith is. So brothers and sisters, let us put our trust in the God who has loved us and redeemed us, and let us store up treasures in heaven according to His grace.